Today we are doing a review for our Module 7 test. Number 1, what percentage of the flowers in the garden are white? Okay, so we have 2 rows of flowers. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15 flowers in total. And then out of these, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 of them are white. So 9 out of 15. And I write this answer as a percentage, and I know that 15 does not easily go into 100. So I'm going to look at this to see if I can simplify this, which I can. 9/15 can be simplified. Both of these numbers are divisible by 3. 9 divided by 3 is 3. 15 divided by 3 is 5. 5 does go evenly into 100. So once I have this simplified 3/5, then I can easily scale it up to 100 by multiplying by 20. So 5 times 20 would give me the 100. And the reason I want the 100 is because these are all percents. And then whatever I did to the denominator times 20, I need to do to the numerator times 20. 3 times 20 is 60. So 60 hundredths is 60%, which is C. Number 2, last month, a car dealership sold 80 cars. Of all the cars sold, 15% of them were red. How many cars that were sold were red? So 15%, I'm going to write that as 1,500. And I know that in total, they sold 80 cars. Okay. And we're doing this without a calculator. So with a calculator, we could easily find that ratio. But we're going to go ahead and simplify this because 100 doesn't go in evenly to 80. 80 doesn't go into 100. So let's see if we can simplify this 1,500, which we can. We know they're both divisible by 5. So this will simplify to 15 divided by 5 will give us 3. 100 divided by 5 will give us 20. And that does go easily into 80. So 20 times 4 will give us 80. So whatever we did to our denominator times 4, we need to do to our numerator times 4. So we get 12. So 12 out of the 80 cars sold were red. Number 3, of all the students that Mikey surveyed, 30% said they play baseball. If 21 students play baseball, how many students did Mikey survey? So 30%, we'll write that as 300. Okay. And then 21 students said that they play baseball. This is the percentage, this is the baseball, and this is the total. So 21 students play baseball. 30 doesn't go evenly into 21 and vice versa. So I want to see if I can simplify my ratio first, the 30/100, which I can. 30 and 100 are both divisible by 10. 30 divided by 10 is 3. 100 divided by 10 is 10. So 3/10. And I see that I can easily go from 3 to 21 by multiplying by 7. So whatever I did to my numerator times 7, I need to do to my denominator times 7. So this would be 70. So this means 70 students were surveyed and 21 of those 70 students played baseball. Number 4, the area of Miss Anderson's office floor measures 120 square feet. She puts down a carpet that covers 40% of the floor. What is the area of Miss Anderson's floor not covered by the carpet? So we have to be a careful reader. Remember, every test is a reading test. The carpet does cover 40% of the floor, and then they are specifically asking us for the area not covered. So if I know that, obviously the floor is 100% that they're talking about. So the carpet covers 40%, which means that 60% is not covered. So the portion that they're asking us about is the not covered portion. Okay. So we want to know what is 60%. So we'll write 60/100, which is how we write 60% as a fraction. And then the entire area of the floor is 120 square feet. Okay. So 100 does not go evenly into 20 and vice versa. So I want to take a look and see if there is a way I can simplify this to something that does go in. 60 and 100 are both easily divisible by 10. So I'll simplify that to 6/10. And 10 does go evenly into 120. So 10 times what number equals 120? 10 times 12 would give me the 120. So I need to do the same thing to my numerator 6. Multiply by 12. So 12 times 6 6 times 2 is 12, right? The 2, carry the 1. 6 times 1 is 6, plus the 1 we carried is 7. So 72 square feet were not covered by the carpet. And again, we want to really be a careful reader because they gave us the percentage of the floor that is covered, but then they asked us for the square footage that is not covered. So be a careful reader when you are taking your test. Number 5, write the ratio 1 to 8 as a fraction, decimal, and percent. So this is the first thing, the second thing, and then the third thing. Okay, so as a fraction, 1 to 8 would be written as 1 over 8. As a decimal, we need to divide that out. So 1/8 as a fraction means 1 divided by 8. 8 is too big to go into 1. So above the 1, we write a 0. Put a decimal, bring it straight up so that we can annex a 0. 8 goes into 10 one time. 1 times 8 is 8. 10 minus 8 is 2. Annex another 0 to bring it down. 8 can go into 20. 2 times 8 is 16. Then we subtract. 20 minus 16 is 4. Extend that division bar. Annex another 0 so we can bring it down. 8 can go into 40. 5 times 8 is 40. So now we have 0, which means we don't need to continue annexing zeros to divide. So as a decimal, 1/8 can be written as 0.125, which is 125 thousandths. And then as a percent, so percent just means per 100. So we move our decimal 2 places to the right, 1, 2, which will give us 12.5. But since we made that number larger, it was 0.125, we can't just change it to 12.5. That's 12.5 per 100. So 12.5%. Okay, so then number 6, we actually have 3 questions in one. So 67% of 180, blank percent of 400 is 104, and 55% of blank equals 11. So this is 3 problems in one number. Okay, so we're going to split these up into 3 questions, A, B, and C. So letter A says 67% of 180 is blank. So we want to remember of means multiply when we're looking at parts of a number. So let's write that reminder of means multiply. Okay, so when we have 67% of 180, this means 67% times 180. So we can't multiply with percentages, so we do need to change that 67% into a decimal. 0.67 of means multiply, and then we have 180. So we'll do 180, this is for letter A, 180 times 0.67, okay? 7 times 0 is 0, 7 times 8 is 56, write the 6, carry the 5, 7 times 1 is 7, plus the 5 we carried is 12. So then we move over to the 6, and we're done with scribbling out that 5 we carried. 6 times 0 is 0. 6 times 8 is 48. Write the 8, carry the 4. 6 times 1 is 6, plus the 4 we carried is 10. Then we add these up, 0, 6, 10, write the 0, carry the 1, 2, and then 1. We had 1, 2 decimals in our problem, so we need 1, 2 decimals in our answer. So we have 120.60 or 120.6. Okay, that was letter A. Okay, let's take a look at letter B. Blank percent of 400 is 104. So blank percent. So as soon as I see the blank percent, I write blank over 100. It is out of 400 is the 104 equals 104. So remember, is means equal. So the 400 is our total, and the 104 is the part that we have. Okay, So, here to get from 400 to 100, I need to divide by 4. 400 divided by 4 equals 100. So to get from 104 to my answer, I need to divide by 4. Okay, and then we'll do that right up here. 104 divided by 4. So that was the work for number 5. So this is 104 divided by 4. 4 is too big to go into 1, so we cannot write anything above the 1. It can go into 10 2 times. 2 times 4 is 8. 10 minus 8 is 2. Bring down the 4. 4 goes into 24 6 times. 6 times 4 is 24, and we get 0. There's nothing left to bring down, and we have no remainder. So this is 26. So 2,600 is 26%. Okay, letter C. 55% of what equals 11? So as soon as I see the 55%, I'm going to write that as 55 over 100. Okay, and then 55% of what? So of our total, we don't know yet, is 11. So the 11 is 55% of whatever our number is. So then we take a look to see, is there something that I can do to 55 to take me to 11? And then once I have that, I'll do the same thing to the denominator, because whatever you do to the numerator, you have to do to the denominator. So how do we get from 55 to 11? We needed to divide by 5. So whatever I did to my numerator, divide by 5. I need to do to my denominator, divide by 5. 100 divided by 5 is 20. Okay, then we check to make sure that makes sense. 55% of 20 equals 11. Yes, that's absolutely a reasonable answer, because 50% of 20 would be 10. So it does make sense that 55% would be 11, just slightly more. Okay, number 7, shade 30% of the whole grid. So as soon as I see 30%, I'm going to write that as 30 over 100. So I can set up a proportion. So if I want to shade 30% of the whole thing, I want to know how many there are all together. So I count the grids, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 by 1, 2, 3, 4. 5 times 4 is 20. So this means there are 20 grids total. So then I want to go from 30% to tell me what is 30% of 20. So I have this unknown. So I want to do whatever I did to my denominator, I need to do to the numerator. So to get from 100 to 20, I need to divide by 5. That's in the denominator. And then whatever I did to the denominator, I need to do to the numerator. 30 divided by 5 is 6. So that means 6 out of the 20 squares need to be shaded. Okay, so I'll shade in 6 of the squares. So 6 squares out of 20 is 30%. Okay, then moving on to number 8. There are 14 apples and 26 oranges in a picnic basket. What fraction and percentage of the fruit in the basket is oranges? Okay, so first of all, we want to know so there are apples and oranges. So if we add these together, 26 plus 14 is 40. So 40 pieces total. And we want to know what portion, as written as a fraction and as a percent, are oranges. So 26 of these are oranges. Okay, so back to this problem, we have 26 out of 40, and we want to write that as a fraction and a percent. So first of all, when I want to write it as a percent, I know 40 does not go evenly into 100. So I want to see if I can simplify that to make it a fraction with a denominator that does, with a denominator that does go evenly into 100. So I can just simplify this. So if I see 26 out of 40, I look at those numbers and I see they are both even, which means they are both divisible by 2. So if I divide 26 by 2, I get 13. And if I divide 40 by 2, I get 20. So 13/20, there's my number as a fraction, simplified fraction. And then now that I have that denominator of 20, it does go evenly into 100. So I multiply it by 5. 20 times 5 gives me 100. And then I want to do the same thing to my numerator, multiply times 5. Okay, so 13 times 5. 5 times 3 is 15. Write the 5, carry the 1. 5 times 1 is 5, plus the 1 we carried is 6. So 65/100 is the same thing as 65%. Okay, so written as a fraction, 13/20, and written as a percent, 65%. Number 9, Jasmine has a collection of 80 seashells. Of all the seashells in her collection, 35% of them are white. How many of Jasmine's seashells are white? So we have 80 seashells total. Okay, and we know 35% is 3,500. And we want to know how many of her 80 seashells are white. Okay, 80 does not go evenly into 100, and vice versa. 100 doesn't go evenly into 80. We're not using calculators yet for this lesson. Pausing for questions. Okay, so 100 doesn't go evenly into 80. 80 doesn't go evenly into 100. So we're going to go ahead and see if we can simplify. 35 and 100 are both divisible by 5. 35 divided by 5 is 7, and 100 divided by 5 is 20. So this gives us 7/20, and 20 does go evenly into 80. So this is times 4. So to find out how many of her 80 seashells are white, we multiply the 7 times 4, and we get 28. So 28 of the seashells are white. Okay, number 10, an artist uses 18 colors on an art palette to paint a picture. This is 72% of all the colors on the palette. How many colors are on the artist's palette? So 72% can be written as 7,200. And we know that the artist used 18 colors. Okay, so we want to know what happened to our 72 to get to 18. And I believe this would just be times 4. So let's check or divide by 4. So let's check if 18 times 4 is 72. 8 times 4 is 32. Write the 2, carry the 3. 4 times 1 is 4, plus the 3 we carried is 7. So yes, this is just divide by 4. So whatever I did to my numerator, divide by 4, I also need to do to my denominator, divide by 4 to get 25. So there were 25 colors. Number 11. Okay, Kendrick's bill for lunch was $24.50. He left the server an 18% tip. How much money did Kendrick leave for the tip? So this is a percent problem. We want to know what is 18% of 20. So 18% of 20, remember that of means multiply. So we talked about that with number 6, of means multiply. So we're really asking what is 18% of 20. So 18% can also be written as 0.18. So this is just a multiplication problem, $24.50 times 0.18. So let's multiply 24.50 times 0.18. And this is a non-calculator question. So we do need to use regular arithmetic. This is a non-calculator item. So 8 times 0 is 0. 8 times 5 is 40. Write the 0, carry the 4. 8 times 4 is 32, plus the 4 we carried is 36. Write the 6, carry the 3. 8 times 2 is 16, plus the 3 we carried is 19. Then we move over to the 1. And remember, we'll be lining up underneath the 1. 1 times 0 is 0. 1 times 5 is 5. 1 times 4 is 4. 1 times 2 is 2. And then we add these together. Okay, so we have 4, 4, 1, 0, 0 in that last row. And remember, we were not multiplying by 18, we were multiplying by 1800. So we had 1, 2 decimals in our problem. So we need 1, 2 decimals. Oh, sorry, we had 1, 2, 3, 4 decimals in our problem. So we need 1, 2, 3, 4 decimals in our answer. So the tip was $4.41. Number 12, Seamus owes his parents $162. He pays them 60% of the $45 he earns as a soccer referee each week. How many weeks will it take Seamus to pay back all of the money he owes his parents? So first, this is a two-step problem. So first, we need to find what is 60% of 45. And then once we have that number, we need to divide that into 162 to see how many weeks it will take him to pay his parents back. Okay, so 60% of 45. So this is 45 times 60%. So 60% as a decimal is 0.60, and that is the same as 6/10, so 0.6. So we'll multiply 45 times 0.6 to find out how much he's paying each week. 6 times 5 is 30, write the 0, carry the 3. 6 times 4 is 24, plus the 3 we carried is 27. Okay, one decimal in our problem, one decimal in our answer. So each week he is paying the parents $27 back. Okay, so then we want to know how many times 100, so how many weeks will it take Seamus to pay his parents back? So we need to do 162 divided by the $27 that he is paying his parents each week. And I believe that's going to be 6. Okay, so this is like rounding up to 30. Let's just double check it here. So 27 times 6. 6 times 7 is 42, right? The 2 carry the 4. 6 times 2 is 12, plus the 4 we carried is 16. So yeah, so this will go in 4 times. So I did the guess and check over here, but let's just go ahead and show our long division as well for good practice. This, I'm sorry, would be 6, excuse me, not 4. Okay, so 6 times 7 is 42, right? The 2 carry the 4. 6 times 2 is 12, plus the 4 we carried is 16. Okay, so that is 6. So it will take him 6 weeks to pay back his parents. Okay, number 13. Emma got 90% of the questions on her math test correct. If she answered 36 questions correctly, how many questions did Emma get wrong? Okay, so 90% was her score, so 90 out of 100. Okay, and we can then they tell us that she got 36 questions correct, so 36 out of blank. We can simplify 90 doesn't go evenly into 36. 36 doesn't go evenly into 90. So we want to see if we can simplify, scale down, scale up, which we can. 9 times 4 gives us 36. So then we just, whatever we did to our numerator times 4, we do to our denominator times 4. There were 40 questions on the test. So if she got 36 of them right, then that means that she got 4 of the questions wrong, because 40 minus 36 is 4. Okay, moving on to number 14. There are 125 people on a mountain trail. Part A, if 55 people on the trail are children, what percentage of the people on the trail are children? Okay, so there are 125 altogether. We'll pause for a question here. Okay, sorry for that interruption. So number 14, there are 125 people on a mountain trail. Part A, if 55 people on the trail are children, what percentage of the people are children? So there are 125 people total, and 55 of those are children. And they want this as a percentage, okay? And again, we don't have a calculator for this type of problem on this module test. 125 into 100, so we would end up with a decimal for our scale factor. So we want to try to avoid having a decimal scale factor if we can. So we look at 55 and 125 to see if we can simplify these, and we can. 55 and 125 are both divisible by 5. So I can divide these by 5. 125 divided by 5 is 25. And 55 divided by 5 is 11. So 11/25ths. And this does go evenly into 100. 25 does go evenly into 100. It goes in 4 times. So whatever I do to my denominator times 4, I need to do to my numerator times 4. So this is 44 hundredths, which is 44% of the people are children. So 44% are children. And then part B, if 84% of the people on the trail are on a hiking tour, how many people are on the tour? So 84%, as soon as we see the 84%, we'll write that as 84 over 100. And then we know there were 125 people. And again, we want to try, we don't have a calculator, so if we can avoid a decimal scale factor, we will. So I want to see if I can simplify this. 84 and 100 are both divisible by 4. Remember that our divisibility rule for 4, it's the last 2 digits are divisible by 4. So this is, and so it's 100. So 84 divided by 4, 8 divided by 4 is 2, 4 divided by 4 is 1. So this is 21. And 100 divided by 4 is 25. So this 84 hundredths can be simplified into 21/25. And 25 does go evenly into 125, would be times 5. And so whatever I did to my denominator, I need to do to my numerator times 5. Okay, 20 times 5, we can do this with partial product. 20 times 5 is 100. 1 times 5 is 5, so this will be 105. Okay, so 105 people were on the hiking tour. Okay, and so that was the review for our Module 7 test.